We felt like we got the in on God. Nobody else don't have an in on God like we do. Our governing body, direct line. We know what's going on. Hi, Fortunate Ones. Welcome back to Fortunate Awakening. I'm Nadine, and here at Fortunate Awakening, this is a place where you will find patience, love, and compassion as you are on your journey of making a life for yourself outside of the JW organization. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to be a part of in helping yourself and helping others, go ahead and subscribe. It's a really nice, welcoming place to be. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is how do you say, I love myself. I love myself. Like everywhere you look, you see things about self-love, self-love. Well, when I initially left the Jehovah's Witness organization, I didn't know who I was, much less to say, oh, I love who I am and I'm just going to accept who I am. When you've been in the Jehovah's Witness organization for any amount of time, you lose your sense of self. So I feel like I wasn't ready to hear about self-love, and you might not be either, because self-love is more about realizing who you are and saying, I love who I am. I don't need other people give me, like confirmation. We are stripped away from any type of individuality within the Jehovah's Witness organization. So you don't even know who you are. So I thought about 3 steps that you could take, things that you could do to help you come to a who am I? And before you start working on the self-love. So let's discuss those 3 things today. Step number 1 is give yourself a break. Yes, grant yourself some grace and be patient with yourself. This is no small feat, leaving a controlling organization that stripped you away from any individuality, and to be brave enough to say, I'm going to walk away from this. And then you're like, okay, I've decided to walk away. Why am I still struggling? So you have that struggle emotionally because of all the pain that comes along with being disfellowship, leaving what you thought was the ultimate truth, the ultimate way in serving our Creator. Self-doubt will come in and you're like blaming yourself. Did I do the right thing? Maybe I didn't do the right thing. So that's like on an intellectual level. Did I do the right thing? Or for me, what I struggled with was, dang it, how stupid was I to stay in that organization for so long? But guess what? It's not about our intelligence. It's not that we have a lack of intelligence. The organization had a really good facade going. Like the Emmy goes to the JW organization. I mean, they had that facade of being a loving, inclusive, connected to God organization that, yeah, I was fooled. But I had to give myself a break and stop beating myself up for not leaving the organization sooner. Give myself a break, forgive myself for going along with practices that I kept hearing like this little voice saying, I don't think this is right. But it's because I'm imperfect. It's because I don't understand. Only the governing body understands. That I just kept pushing those feelings away. And then, but for a long time, I kept thinking like, gosh, I got a pretty good score on the SAT when I was in high school, time to go to college. Like, how could I not see this? And if you feel that way, millions of people have been fooled. Millions of people were fooled. I had to say to myself, it wasn't only me that was fooled for all this time. Then there was all the emotional blackmail that keeps you locked in. And then the fact that you were earnestly trying to connect with God and they took advantage of that. That's the biggest thing they took advantage of, is that the people that come are truly trying to connect with God, are looking for something different. So forgive yourself and move on. Number 2, Celebrate your accomplishments. Start celebrating any of your accomplishments that you were able to take action on once you woke up and you said, I'm leaving the organization. That's number one. Number one should be, I am going to be brave enough to listen to my God-given intuition, to listen to my emotions, to listen to what God is telling me, and I'm going to leave. Write that down. Write that down as your first accomplishment, because that's big. We know how big that is. We know that it is so difficult for people to leave cults. They're so torn. So I don't want you to say, I don't have any accomplishments to write down. I don't have a career. I don't have a family. I don't have this. I wasted so much time. No, you have a huge accomplishment. You are still alive and breathing, and you decided to leave. So that's one accomplishment. Then look at other things that you might not think that are really accomplishments. One accomplishment that was major for me was when we moved to Colorado. So we lived on the northeast coast. I had heard of the Mormon religion, but I never ran into Mormons in Philadelphia 20-something years ago. So when we moved to Colorado, oh my gosh, I met so many Mormons. I worked with a Mormon nurse. I think it's because we're closer to Utah, and that's like where a lot of Mormons are. But the Mormons go out in door-to-door service too. It's like when they turn 17, they have to go on like this mission trip. I didn't know any of this until I worked with this Mormon nurse. And they have to go and serve for 2 years wherever they're sent. These children have to go, leave their families and go on these mission trips. And I tell you, it's such a struggle for these parents when they have to send their kids off. Once I lived in Colorado for some time, I recognized the Mormon children that were doing their 2 years of mission work. They come up to you and try to give you the Church of Latter-day Saints. That's their book. It's a little blue book. That's their holy book. I just still had this fear of talking to them. But because I was able to have this engagement with this lovely nurse at my job, I learned about them now. Now they were human, they were real. Their parents were real. Like, she's a mom like me. Her daughter was 16. She was worried because in 2 years, her daughter had to go off and do her missions. So it was like now they weren't just these people that I had been trained as a Jehovah's Witness for those years before. Stay away from that. You don't want to hear about any other religion. It's false religion. It's worldly. They were now human to me. Now they were just like teenagers that I'm like, what? They have to leave and they could be in another country and they have no choice in the matter. So they were human to me. So when they would come to my door, just like I did the Jehovah's Witnesses, I wouldn't go to the door. When people would come to proselytize to me and talk to me about any type of religion, I would freeze up. I didn't want to talk about religion. So these two girls come. In Colorado, it is cold. I felt so bad. I said, I'm going to talk to them. I wanted to let them in so they could have a chance to warm up, right? So I talked to them. That was major. That was major that I was able to truly listen to these girls, not judge them. I was able to talk to these Mormon children, because that's what they were to me. 18 years old, they babies, making them leave away from their parents. Some 18-year-old children might be ready for that. Some 18-year-old children are not. And that was what this Mormon nurse was expressing to me, that she knew her daughter was not going to be ready to go, but she was worried because the little girl was going to have to go. So anyway, that was major. When these girls came to my door, no longer were they just like, oh, a religion of the world, of Christendom that I have to run away from. They were human to me now because I had had the opportunity to build this relationship with this Mormon mom who was just, guess what? Just a mama trapped, worrying about her daughter whether she was ready emotionally or not, that she had to leave home in a year and a half, go away wherever the church saw fit to send her, and they had no say. And if they don't go, it's frowned upon. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the same type of control in the Jehovah's Witness organization. So that's an example of something that I did once I was out of the JW organization that was a huge step. So make a list of those type of accomplishments. So think about the things that are that you want to do, that you haven't been able to do, that you've been intrigued by, or that because you were in the organization, you were, because of what we were being taught, you would have to shy away from it. If it's something that interests you, take action. Take action. Go ahead and do that, and then write it down in your list of accomplishments. Everything you try new is going to help you grow as a person. It's going to broaden your horizons as a person. Okay? So the third thing I want you to work on is rewriting your story. I've said it before, don't get stuck. A part of the reason that I made this channel was I met a younger nurse who was stuck. She left the organization after abuse. She left the organization because she didn't want her children to be like fourth generation Jehovah's Witnesses. That was why she left. And she was struggling. And I was like, no, don't. You are going to be fine. I don't want you to be stuck. You are doing what is right because that's what God is putting in your heart. So she was rewriting her story, and that was a lot of what we talked about. Like, okay, now I have all this freedom. What do I want my life to look like, right? And I would encourage you to do that sooner than later, because when you're stuck, then here we go again with that tug of war of your emotions, your intelligence, and that can lead to depression. And that's what I experienced as well, because I was so torn. My emotions and my intelligence were telling me, I don't want to be in this organization anymore. Like, I was so clear on that. I was clear I didn't want to be in an organization anymore. I was clear that I wanted to be with my boyfriend, who's now my husband of 20 years. But I was still stuck between completely rewriting my story and moving in forward, but that was being pulled back, you know. And I remember when I was called in for my meeting with the elders to be disfellowshipped, and like I said, the elders were kind to me. I cannot say anything about those elders that were at my meeting when they found out I was living with my boyfriend. They were kind. I mean, they were actually sad. They offered, because I had moved in with him, and they heard, and they were like, we want you, you need to move out, you know, and if you don't move out, you know what's going to happen. I don't remember all the words that they said. That was 20 years ago, 20 something years ago. But they were like, are you afraid of him? You know, do you want us to help you move out? I mean, like, they really cared about me. They really thought they were doing what was best for me. So that is a part of the reason I was torn. Not only was I leaving my mother and all these friends, so that I thought, you know, friends, thought I was leaving serving God. They were very kind to me. So if you don't start rewriting your story about who you want to be soon, you can easily, that drag, it'll pull you back in there for numerous reasons, and it could be different reasons for different people. So start rewriting your story, going in a direction of your new life as soon as possible. And if you don't know, look, okay, I don't know what direction I want to go in. I'm going to tell you the one direction you can go in that you will never fail. You go in the direction of love. We have examples. Don't get caught up in, is this religion the right religion? Is Jesus Christ God? Well, what about the Trinity? Well, you don't have time for all that, okay? And I will tell you, I don't have the answer. about all of the theology and the spirituality. I don't know. I am researching it. I'm praying about it. I'm meditating about it. But I don't have all the answers. And guess what? I don't need to have all the answers, and neither do you. That is a conditioning of the organization where we felt like we got the in on God. Nobody else don't have an in on God like we do. Our governing body, direct line. We know y'all don't know. Y'all lost in the world. That need to be right is a conditioning of the organization. Let that go. Let your story, the one thing you know, we know when there's debate in the Bible. Did Jesus say this? What did he mean? I don't have time for all that. What I do know is God loves me. I feel that love. The second thing I know is Jesus Christ showed love when he was here physically on earth. And I don't care if he was fictitious or not. I don't care. Don't get on my nerves with that. He showed love. And I'm sure if you look at the Quran, if you look at other holy books, they all have that central theme of love, of treating people fairly. So if I don't know nothing else, I know that when I am kind to people, it makes me feel good. Another example, Mother Teresa. I love Mother Teresa, y'all. Mother Teresa chose, she was a nun, a Catholic nun, but a teacher in the rich schools in India. She had a cushy life. She chose that, no, I am going to show love to the ones that are not loved. In India, there was such poverty and overpopulation that when you would have these parents, when they would have a child with some type of disability, they would be throwing them out on the street, homeless. Mother Teresa chose to say, instead of me serving in this caste system, which they have in India, where I have all my meals and everything is given to me, I'm going to go out here and show unconditional love to the children that nobody wants to love. And I know that works. That woman is dead and gone, and we still know Mother Teresa. The entire country just called her mother. I know she felt good. And I know when I show people unconditional love, I feel good. Now, my kids usually go and volunteer at different places. Where we like to volunteer is with adults and children with mental disabilities, because my daughter has a mental disability, so we completely understand that. We can't do that right now because of COVID. The place where my son used to go and volunteer, they're not letting volunteers come. So the opportunities are not there right now to physically go out and help. But when you're in the supermarket, even with your mask on, you smile at somebody. You smile at that little old person that's in there in the supermarket all by themselves trying to get their groceries. They can see your smile behind that mask. They see your little cheeks go up. I'm telling you they do. Because when I'm out, because I don't really get to go any place but work in the supermarket. That's it. I smile at people and they speak and they smile back. So they see my, your cheeks might not be as big as mine, but they can tell I'm smiling even with that mask on. But you find a way, you hold the door for somebody, you just say hi. If you don't know how else to start rewriting your story, you decide that you are going to show love to people. And then and pray about, what else do I want to do? What else do I want to do? Start rewriting your story now. Don't look back. Don't look back. Don't get stuck. Okay? And make it a juicy story, because I want to hear all about it and I like juicy stories. Rewrite that story and make that thing juicy. Okay? I just want you fortunate ones to know I love you. You are fortunate. And in time, you are going to learn who you are, what you want, and you are going to love yourself. And that love of yourself is going to then project as love onto others. Okay? Love you, fortunate ones. Bye.